As the days and months dragged on, I began to believe that Sesshomaru would not be coming back at all this time. Usually, even when he was away, I could feel his presence here with me, but now the air felt still, and I had the overwhelming feeling that I was alone. Many of the men in the village have caught word that Sesshomaru has denounced any romantic claim on me, and they embarrassingly have made many proposals to me. Their advances towards me were just another painstakingly awful reminder that Lord Sesshomaru didn't want me. In truth, it seems silly to dream of, but I did dream of it. Every night his face appeared before me, causing the ache to burn worse. No matter how Lord Sesshomaru cared for me, I should know better than to think he would fall in love with me, a human, the way I have so deeply fallen in love with him. Kohaku seems to be bothered when the other villagers try to court me, and some part of me has found myself shamefully enjoying his jealousy. So much so that a voice inside my head tells me that maybe I could grow to care for him. But in the end, my heart still tells me even if it were so, it would never be enough to love him. At least not in the way that I love Lord Sesshomaru, and that would never be fair to Kohaku. I hate these conflicting feelings because in the end, Kohaku suffers, because I cannot let go of Lord Sesshomaru. I hate myself for it all, and I long to be normal like the other village women. If I was, then I wouldn't love a demon, who would never love me in return. While walking through the village staring at the night sky, I was foolishly wondering what Lord Sesshomaru was doing. Since Kohaku has been helping me with my daily chores, I've had much more time to myself to think, and for that I'm grateful to him. During these long walks, I could spend my time imagining a different life, one where perhaps I was born a demon, so that I could be good enough for Lord Sesshomaru. I began blushing to myself thinking these thoughts when I felt a tap on my shoulder.
Hello, Miss Rin. It's me, Daku. I was just going for a walk and I noticed you were alone. I would love to accompany you. What a great company we could be for each other.
He proclaimed this with such enthusiasm that I felt extremely awkward in declining, but Daku's persistent conquest of me in recent weeks has gotten quite irritating, and I couldn't stomach a walk with him. Daku, thank you for the offer, but I am just heading home. It's gotten quite late. I smiled kindly, but his golden brown eyes quickly became dark in response. He was a handsome man with long dark hair, pulled back in a ponytail, but he had always given me such a dark feeling. The way he had always followed me with his eyes never failed to send shivers down my spine. His mouth formed a straight line and his entire demeanor changed.
You know, Ren, it's really quite disgusting how you walk around here like you're too good for everyone, other than that disgusting dog. One day you're gonna regret your ungratefulness towards the men in this village. You're lucky anyone even wants you. A poor girl with no ranking or family and who's obsessed with a demon. It's quite embarrassing, but your looks make men look past your gross desires.
He spat his words with such hate, and I could feel my body trembling. Daku grazed my cheek gently with his hand, causing me to flinch.
You'd be lucky to be the woman of a man like me and my family. Or maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you constantly give me the cold shoulder because of that demon slayer Kohaku. Is that it, sweet ring?
I took a step back, preparing to run, but he surprisingly began to walk back in the direction he came from, and I desperately wanted to get back home and far away from him. I knew he would not leave me alone and that I'd have to do something to rid myself of him, but for now I just wanted to crawl in bed and forget the awful things he said to me. Once I reached my hut, I breathed a sigh of relief, and I felt my body finally relax. I couldn't understand why it was such a foreign idea to people that I love Lord Sesshomaru, and I felt a tear trickle down my cheek thinking of Daku's words and how the other villagers probably shared his sentiments. I tried not to let myself care about the opinions of others, but my entire life I've been treated as if I'm strange, and inside I just wanted people to like me, or at the very least be kind to me. Lord Sesshomaru was handsome, brave, and he has spent most of my life saving me. I could never understand how anyone could fault me for my feelings for him. It was something so beautiful to me. It was only until now that I have ever questioned if he would always be there to protect me, and that thought saddened me greatly. Walking into my hut, I instinctively went to light a candle so that I could see while I changed into my sleep clothes, but I was so tired I stopped myself and decided to just lay down for the night as I was. Before I could bend down to find my bed, I felt a sweaty hand come over my mouth, and I was forced down to the ground. I struggled to get out of his grasp, but it was no use, and though it was dark, I knew that it was Daku, without a doubt, without a shadow of a doubt. The lavender smell from his clothes filled my nostrils, He hovered himself over me, keeping his clammy hand over my mouth while I squirmed to get out from under him. Finally, I was able to bite his hand, causing him to roll over, grabbing his in pain.
You stupid bitch, I will kill you.
He screamed. I ran for the door and towards the forest, and in the midst of my terror, I was reminded of the first time that I had been killed by wolves. I remembered running towards the forest, towards Lord Sesshomaru, only to end up being slaughtered. I was running away from a human village then too, just like I was now. All of my feelings of resentment for humans, particularly human men, came flooding back in this moment. This was why no one could ever understand my affection for a demon, because they couldn't understand the evil things that humans have put me through, that they were still putting me through. I kept running, not sure if Daku was even behind me anymore, until I tripped over a rock. Once I fell to the ground, I immediately felt his body fall on top of me. Daku rolled me over onto my back and slapped my face. I instinctively yelled in pain.
You stupid demon-loving freak, you made my hand bleed.
His eyes were so dark, and I felt like they were swallowing me whole. "Please," I cried. "Get off of me, please. Daku, I'm sorry. I won't deny your kindness anymore. Just please don't hurt me," I whimpered. My sobs meant nothing to him, and he began to rip my kimono off of me, shredding it into pieces. In the back of my head, all I could think about was that Lord Sesshomaru had gifted me this particular kimono for my birthday, and it made me sick to lose another part of him. Daku began kissing my neck while fondling my breast, and I felt myself dying inside. I felt worthless. Like a childish schoolgirl, I secretly promised myself long ago that I'd let no man have my body unless it was my lord. Now that choice was about to be stolen from me.